introduce yourself and let us know about your experience so far.
Okay, so hello, my name is Tia and I'm 16 years old. My family has been a member of HEN for my whole life and my sister's lives. I've been home educated my whole life. My parents decided this because we have been living overseas. My father works in education, but he works overseas. When I was 8, we moved to Oman, and me and my sister started school there with my father. I stayed in for 2 years. Well, my eldest sister only stayed in for 6 weeks because she just found it too difficult. My older sister, she stayed in for 3 years, and in this time she completed the IGCSE curriculum. It's basically the British version of the leaving cert or the junior cert. Now we moved to Vietnam 2 years ago, and I started in my father's school. It is the British curriculum, so I'm currently in my 2nd year of the IGCSE. I am only doing 3 classes in school though, and then the rest of my classes are through homeschooling. I take some online classes, but I also do some in person, like my mother creates the classes that I do in person. For the classes that I take in school, they are just translated and put into my credits for Clonlara. I'm not sure if all of you know what a credit is, but what a credit is for Clonlara, it is the subject that your child takes, and then it has to be over the year, and then it is 180 hours. So I'll tell you a little about Clonlara. So Clonlara is a democratic American school. It offers online courses, but the most popular option is an off-campus program. This isn't like online classes that the students will attend. It's rather that your family will be assigned an advisor that will help you find courses or create courses that your children will do, and then those will be counted toward credits for the for the diploma at the end of the 4 years. The credits that can be done are online classes, the classes that you create as a parent, and then you can also get credit for non-traditional studies. For this, my eldest sister Emma, she did a barista course. You can also translate work experience into the credits, or for me, like I do classes in school, this can also be translated, like if you do it in school or universities or other places of like education. For me and my sisters, we have all done the US diploma. So the subjects that you will need to do and how many years you will need to do it are your student will need to do 4 years of English, then they will need to do 3 years of each math and science. They'll need to do a year and a half of PE, 1 year of US history, and then a half a year of geography, speech, and US government. Your child will also need to do 8 electives. In addition to all these subjects, the students will also need to do 180 hours of volunteering. The main purpose of the volunteering is to make your child understand or have awareness of like helping people or dealing with customers, or give them ideas about how certain businesses work. Some examples of volunteering that I have personally done is I have volunteered in the local library in America where my grandmother lives. This was mainly like helping out with certain crafts for the children, or cleaning and like kind of organizing books. I also converted my work experience at St. Vincent's de Paul, the charity shop in my hometown in Ireland. I also worked at my aunt's hair salon. So she owns a hair salon in America, and I was mainly helping her like keep the hair salon tidy, or like writing down information if somebody calls, or helping her decorate. I also helped coach kids here in Vietnam in Gaelic football. So this was very like dear to me, because even across the world I found a Gaelic football community here. So it was very nice to be able to teach children about that. On top of the volunteering and the subjects, the students will also need to do a reading list. So this consists of at least 16 books over the 4 years. This can vary in like genres. There can be nonfiction, fiction, like really anything that your child wants. And the children will have to do paragraphs on them, kind of like a summary or like a book review. For my structure, which I have found that is very helpful and makes it kind of easier to write, is that I have 2 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, I give a summary of the book, and then kind of include like certain parts of the book that I liked or disliked. And then in the second paragraph, I give my opinion on the book and kind of say if there's something that I would add, take out, or if there was like a moral of the story, or if I felt that there's something that could be added. And then I also give my recommendation to either parents or students if I think it's a certain age level, or if it's a good book that parents can kind of introduce subjects to their children, if it's kind of a heavier topic, or it's just a good like entry to the topic. Also, in the last year of the students' high school, they will need to do 2 things. The first one is an exit exam. This is an open book exam where the students can research about the questions. The test can be taken over the year. You can have your child sit down and just complete it in one sitting, or they can say do like 2 questions a week. It's not really like, you don't have to do it in like a certain amount of time. The exam is 40 questions long. The first 20 are more factual, and this is meant to show or like get your child to be able to research and then put that research or that information into a short or like compiled answer. And then the last 20 are more based on opinions and kind of try and get the students to think more critically, and then try to get them to also like articulate themselves well and to see if they can do that. The next thing that the students will need to do is a capstone project. This is more of a research-based report. They will need to do it kind of at the end of the school. So for some examples of what my sisters have done, my eldest sister Emma, she did a Meatless Monday program in my father's school. This is because she was focusing on veganism and climate change. So she had to do research and then implement the actual program. For my other sister Kayla, she gave a survey to Irish and American home-educated students and school-going students, and she asked them questions about their mental health to see if there were some issues that were more prevalent in other groups, or if a heavier, like if a certain issue was more prevalent in one group. She also did this because she was interested in psychology, and the reason that she did a survey was because it was during COVID. So me and my sisters have done the U.S. Version, however, of the diploma. However, there are non-American versions. So that means that it doesn't include the U.S. history and government. I know there are advisors who work in different languages, such as German and Portuguese. My eldest sister, Emma, who has completed the course, had the opportunity to tailor her subjects to her. She also has severe dyslexia and has trouble with certain subjects. The main one was like math, which she had the opportunity to not go further than, or she wasn't required to go further than pre-algebra. She also had the opportunity to tailor the courses to her interests. One interest was marine biology, and a thing that she did to go toward her credit was that she learned how to scuba dive. So it was a very different learning experience than some kids have in school. She also was really into art, so she could personalize a lot of art courses, and this really helped her create a diverse art portfolio. And she decided to go to an art college, so that really based their acceptance on her art portfolio. So it was good that she didn't need to go to higher levels of certain subjects. And my other sister Kayla, she wanted to go into psychology, the psychology course in the University of Limerick, which is a lot more academic than the art college that my other sister went to. For this, the requirements that they needed her to have were her diploma from Clonlara with a certain grade point average, and then she needed a minimum score on the SATs, and then she needed to have at least one advanced placement class with a minimum score as well. We have found that Clonlara's diploma is a very good alternative to, say, the Leaving Cert or going into PLCs, and we have seen that the universities are getting more used to seeing these and getting more likely to accept children or students on this. However, I know that if you are looking into your child or your student going into college, you have to research the courses that they're looking at to see if they only need the diploma or if they need more like the SATs or the AP classes. For me, I find that it is that I would probably need to have an AP class and the SATs for me to go further in my education. It's just from my other sister, because I'm not very artsy, I probably won't go into an art class like my other sister, but I'd probably follow in my Kayla's footsteps. However, it is reassuring to know that I have the qualification of the diploma to get me into university in Ireland, and we have found that going through the CAO is also a possibility. If some of you are wondering what my courses have looked like over the past few years, I'll give you a little bit of information about that now. So for math, I use an online program called Teaching Textbooks. This gives me a lot of independence and allows me to do it without a lot of involvement with my mother. And then for US history, I read some books with an overview of the history, and then me and my mother have looked at or watched a lot of movies and documentaries to look at the issues more in depth. I also did interviews. We have a family member who was a Vietnam vet, so I asked him about his experience, and that gave me a lot of insight of the issues that he faces now with the health problems from certain chemicals or just the experience that he's had. For the biology that I'm doing now, earlier this year, I completed the Khan Academy biology course. However, now I am doing an online course called Labster. This provides virtual labs to students, and we have found it really helpful because it gives me the same information that you would get or similar information that you would get in an actual lab, but like we couldn't find a lab that you could go into because I have some at school, but we couldn't use it. So, and lastly, for speech, which I'm doing currently, my mother has created the course that I'm doing, but has split it into 3 parts. The first part that I did earlier in my school, or earlier this year, was learning about different types of speeches and the skills that are needed to give a certain level of it, or like good skills to have. And the next one that I'm currently doing is studying famous speeches. I have studied poor Pierce, JFK, and then like Gandhi. This includes, like, what I have to do is read or watch the speeches, and then I have to analyze them by answering certain questions that my mother has created. The last part is creating my own speeches and giving them. So for this, one of the reasons why I chose to give this speech or this talk was that it actually goes toward my speech credit. So I really enjoy having the opportunity to give the information to you, but also know that it is going toward my school. So what my family has found with Clonlara is that it is very good at giving you information, or like we have found that the advantage of Clonlara is, while it addresses the need to meet the criteria for a high school diploma, it also offers a lot of flexibility and creativity to allow the students to explore certain topics that they're interested in, and it also gives students the opportunity to learn about self-study and kind of time management as well, to be able to be ready for university and have that stress of managing it on your own instead of relying on a teacher to tell you what to do. For parents who are wondering if you need an educational or teaching background, this is not required. However, you also need to be aware and like organized to be able to know what your child is doing and how it kind of relates to the credits that they're getting for the diploma. We have found that Clonlara is very supportive between families. The advisors are very helpful, and when you're thinking about the subjects that your students will do, they're very helpful with either finding online courses that the student can take, or if it's kind of more complex, that they'll help you kind of create the course that the child will take. So thank you for listening. I'm sure that people have questions, so we're happy to answer them. My mother is here as well if there's a lot of parents or more parents that want to kind of ask about her experience.